Walker Jolly, ACI Bananas, Wallo. Aroki Allen BK Junior, all yes, it's Cylinder. Nave, Doug Halanda, Aro Honorable Herman Daniels, all J. Tot Sabin, just go or get it there, go Estortion and Endla. Aro Honorable Mark Freeland, East Other Sakad, go Beshbahas Angela. Aro Silla. Nave Sahot Sodak or Honorable Wilson Stewart. D has tunneled ego RDC Nihinanish il. O one Shannon or Zay Hachini, Bush's chain. Certain have betting that should shade o Kian Ani you had the shade and then Aro has tago chapters Bonash Nishigate Sadak on San Juan. Chapter 8, Sassanani, and a quaggy or the need Jesus. Nina Nizard, Hoholia, though as Quay, as though Hoholia of upper fruit. East of the card, Burnham, Johota, Banash, and then over Snashness. So here are not Queen, get on a phonic gate, is not sponsors Agi, Robanag, Shan Korodat. A cook, a shake, a dough, should celebrate dash, Honorable Wilson Stewart, in each, Dahodol.
Oh, good morning, Shania. Though our staff, when we're trying to get our community members and community leadership, I don't know how to things and again this morning, like you have. You did need don't let quite need a day. Wilson C. Stewart Jr. and she had Aquadote so that he just this morning. I don't could get Shanana long for my chapters as long, but had a shaggy able to slashly. Did you don't the community development bethel? ARPA funding, Linny, Bill, Linnigiko. Could on here now today, today, quit Sony A and Schle. Don't know, I just catching a bush chain, catching in the shade, double behind the Chanel. Put out aid and then other communities I represent the tell it so, big a health sheet when Spiladon Hijida, Kaya deep, it's out in the gift from 45 agency, but Kadasha, our cultural chairman, Shana, thank you.
Akushila, Silla. I don't need
cái hệ đồ con đi cái hệ đồ tổng thì cái gì đấy bây giờ ở đây cái fence nó ta ở đây si sẽ khá đồ ở đây sao nó khá xử lý cái đi cái hệ đồ tổng hệ đồ thì ở cái gì cái hệ đồ gì ở đó hệ đồ Hatoni, Adopia, Edo, other rocks and no. We need to solve that issue, that fancy. Idi, the Hatos, Adonta, Nota. She that was on the Kotono Foundation, though, and not, you know, the Alo, which is the hour here. I see what the hell, say. The hell.
Kushila, within our presentation, Goshini, Chihodi asked Mr. Short here, what I should know that the Dean, Nikidin, Latin in an iron hit out, Sito, then since simply Jacole, then the horror upon I shake for your carol, this only that horse, yeah.
My name is Vernon.
I'm gonna go there where it is over me. But I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Kenneth Curley. Go ahead, you know that I've been with the king. That's the guy station, Sir Francis Red House. That's the his song on the change and his change that not all my daughter to change.
Yeah, there's none. Then edit the letter, the hate ink on everything.
Yeah, Ron Gray is on the webinar, so they get it in the motion and the intention. There's a hard end, little, they want to stay there, they go, they retreat it at the non. Okay, take care. Hey, that's this. Say that, got that, okay. Thank you, very full corner too. The government, so I guess, so and I think that. If I want to give you, good, of course, I should never have it. Good news, I got it. I got it. Very good. Yes, I don't share that. It's not clear yet. Get caught. Someone will get everything. It's legal. You was a and you can, I was going. You never saw it. You had a very last week. And what said Okay, okay. Yeah, I think she. Yeah, provided, she. Cognitive check. Out of the planet is another, couldn't cheat, another day you do it. Out of say, Kenny Victor and shit. Out of Korea, I cut out the. And I, that off, you know. Okay, I don't. And funny.
But this week, don't see what the thing. I don't do the everything, but you must trust me that it's.
Yeah, it's three rain yard, this business from. Here, Aqua with weight show here. See, I it's not profit. The cut sheet is freedom, yeah, only budget sheet. The first really that go. That's another. I just needed to support on behalf of Wade Show here.
That's been on. Share Francis, the James, yeah, I don't know. There's a time they publish change. It's not about that.
Yeah, and she ate in the red feather and she had actually much of the line of coded around 1 4 and every time I should change the things on my notice and I come from Slogan residents, which is directly located on the Brooklyn Monument. And I'm also here presenting for Eric Sloman. He is my brother, also he's a student. And he has a legitimate home site use because I think he is very on in the games on the public here. This is not my work. And then I have my aunt Janet Sloman, who actually has the grazing right there for the Brooklyn. And she could be here. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, yeah, I'm a resident of Chicago, I came from. This is how much you came. I'm going to say, oh, Chicago.
Yeah, they are so. She doesn't know it. He didn't confirm area how so that in Taiwan is on this case. So she very powerful she I will she strong I will need a corners as we don't get vision. I will the all corners of the creation of I will be educated that my education oh, yeah, meeting strong. I see
unable to my other Okay, Geneva Chats, schedule, BIA real estate office, Thank you. Good morning, honorable chair, mayor, members of the RDC leadership committee, everybody in attendance. My name is Mayor Khan. I'm with BIA real estate services office in Shiprock.
Morning, everybody. My name is Lambert Shi. I'm with the Bureau of Natural Resources of the BIA office in Shiprock. I'm going to touch you good morning, Mr. Chair. And happy to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Byron Bitsui Senior. I'm with the Navajo Nation, the Navajo Land Department. I am the GIS supervisor here in attendance for Mr. Mike Colonna.
Morning, Mr. Chair and members of the resources committee. Jag är era Lucinda Conchia, but I mean, it's the chief versus team. Well, Lee that should change. And I am the community services coordinator for the Chief Memphis chapter, and would like to welcome all of this one.
Thank you, Lucinda. I didn't recognize you with your name. Hey, but he's Sunday Aztec, very good student. Her sister, her dad was always an excellent man. But from the face of they encouraged me to go to Washington, D.C. when I was in 8th grade. And I always remember Mr. James Tom Key. So when I was in 8th grade, I went to Washington, D.C. Man, as a kid, so you're gonna thank you, Ms. Tom Key. That's good to see you. I don't do this and yeah, I don't think you had you done it. Mr. Pai, is the connection back on?
Yes, we're connected.
Okay, thank you. Arnold Scott, we want to honey get on a honey, deep and I get each nose pastor, Red Mesa, all the top to Ocean and again, Yagi, Honorable Francis Redhouse, I don't know, Mr. Kenny Victor, I don't know that Verma, I don't know that the Babylon, North Senegi. I don't have so didn't Mr. Redhouse, but Oshie, you have the Kuchenda is Gization, but that we deal after nature that I had all seen. BIA Regional Director, Mr. Greg Mahocha, please introduce yourself, sir.
Good morning, Honorable Chair Nez, honorable members of the RDC and others. Good morning. Thank you for having us on today. We look forward to presenting. I have my team on. If they could introduce themselves, starting with Ms. Dina Ness, who is our Regional Realty Officer.
Good morning, everyone. Dina Ness, Regional Realty Officer, BIA Navajo Region.
Ms. Curley.
Yats A. Bennett, Chairman Nez, RDC members, committee members, Dyson Flangy. Good morning. My name is Cheryl Curley, BIA Tribal Services, Navajo Region. Thank you.
Thank you. From the Office of the President, Vice President, Honorable Davis Philbritt.
Good morning, Chair Nez and members of the Resource and Development Committee, staff, and T-Snow's Bus chapter officials and community and everybody that's listening in. All the presenters as well and BIA. Calling in from Albuquerque. Today is actually my day off, but I'll be listening in since I'm an in-law into T-Snow's Bus. Kitlichini den enschli don't ashchi bashishin but ani dashiche todichini dashinal eshi ably nash working for Office of the President, Vice President as an executive staff assistant. This is a long time issue. Hope it gets resolved soon. I did bring this matter before Mr. Shabala. I believe our new director is somewhat shut the Becker. Thank you. I'll be listening.
Thank you, Mr. Filford. From Navajo Nation Department of Justice, Ms. Blockhart.
Veronica Blackhat. I'm the Assistant Attorney General for Natural Resources Unit. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blockhart. Mr. Curly Chambers.
My name is Brian Curly Chambers. I also work with Navajo Nation Department of Justice, the Natural Resources Unit. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have Ms. Bittelbecker on the call with us? None. We have my colleagues on the call now. Honorable Herman Daniels, Jr.
Good morning, Chair. What do you play, ya?
Oh.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know, Vice Chair. I did the Resources and Development Committee. The colleagues. I don't know if staff. I don't hear that. It's I talk about a case of the Kaseko. I see by here. He's like I don't know. Inchige Herman Daniels Jr. I don't know. I don't know. Slingy, but I don't care if it's 8 as there. As I the 8 as another. I don't know that talk here at Laney. Now, the net 8 as say. What I can't get in me, don't let it be here. I don't know what for the Zibeha or ZD Benda AIC here. I call it the Nasser. Doubt the donor of the Nasser. Yet, Elda is big. I don't know. I just heard of Chairman Nez he is Chairman Nez or he is former council delegate Ash, Mr. Francis Redhouse, Honorable Redhouse. Okay. Ayoban Nasser, I was clear saying horse did that Lenigi 21st Council being on Ethics and Rules Committee. I don't get chairman long for the rate 5 minutes later they have to do excuse the horse you have to be on time it down there because you're not don't know you're done thank you, Chair.
I think that's what I'll start doing. Follow the steps of Mr. Honorable Redhouse here. When RDC is late, I'm going to have to charge them $50. If they don't show up for a meeting, they're going to have to be 100 senior citizen center. So that's a good idea there. So thank you for mentioning that, Honorable Daniels. You gave me something to work with now. Honorable Freeland. Honorable Mark Freeland, Honorable Thomas Walker Jr., Honorable Kealan Begay, Joe Patela. Anybody on the call that wishes to introduce themselves?
Good morning. My name is Renita Anderson. I'm with the Clobuto Grazing Official. I'm going to be present later today. Don't mention the age to see so Jose Touchy, but she's seen not.
Alain,
District 12.
do what it's that.
Ashpiga, Ashpita,
Oh, at Ehoditsa.
but she, Nana, Yat Eshe, Renita Anderson, yeah. Don't mention the age to see so Jose Touchy, but she's chin. Go behind the shit say, don't put it was the Chanel. Alo apato grazing official. Not on delineation on this. Alo we're having a District 12 meeting at the same time, so when we're all done, we'll be all heading that way to area alo
At Koshila, next.
Mr. Chair. And Resources and Development Committee members, and Shinigi Ado, Yat at East Bus chapter officials, grazing committee members, Ado, everybody from the East Bus and surrounding community, welcome to the call. And those who will be presenting and listening, BIA representatives, DOJ attorneys, Navajo Nation staffers, Citizen Behainzigi, Ahehe, Eba, Ahehe, Jay Mariana Khan, Dasha Janet, Dona and the Shinigi A toy here gleaning the Schnitt, Ahi Bushes Chin, Ash Chit, Dasha Chay, Sanji Kenneth, Dashanella, I could our son in the Schnitt, DJ, Zara Hotzana Dan, and Hitch it Besh Bay Hashmet. So, Mr. Chair, I'll be going on mute now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khan, for being on the call with us today. Certainly appreciate the work you do. Atenya Hakushila, the Korob Kaho Asani, Lenigi agenda, the Kaho Classic, Na Kikuna Eshi, the purpose of the leadership meeting. Korob and yes, Asani, Lenigi, the Resources and Development Committee will be conducting an in-person leadership meeting with the Division of Natural Resources, Navajo Nation Law Department, Navajo Department of Justice Natural Resources Unit, East Bunch chapter officials, grazing officials, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs to discuss the fencing between the Navajo Nation and Mountain Ute tribe and the land intrusion. Benigas Anitenigi Koto Beshbans an but Anajago RDC Bidi Ninigi Adon Data Dida Kayapas Hadahois Zobanan Nishidex Inigi Land Department Ado Division of Natural Resources because I don't hear that it soft that's banana Shidex Egypt Department of Justice. I don't put on in an Adan Lenigi and I don't is not sponsored. I don't sell cheat has candle. I don't that the BIA the unnation Lenigi the Benegas and a Lenigi a Aj in don't the hot zo. The historic height ego belahted that egobana as de do Allah de could a shortly nego she are there no dato nehe kushe hans so goshin hid the nation ayosad benina che de nesto height our she has ador nes Juk at a ha Nehnant ada is Akido Kona how Tanigishi Hans Sagoshin do did a shot betan hadit Ahidashin Hadad Dorsi Benachi Elhos and or left a store the Benda Hodot Zins Hagila Egis Etzo Hagila Eyahan Hahodet on the Nagay Treaty of 1868 Nenigi Betsada at Washington and Nenigi Lachit Awe Nahazola Hagila ha hot ego han zagola hotza. Die als de pensa ha hotza hos han so goshin nihidet ego atela. Doshi yob needs and ande di horo Mr. Thomas Short here ande shits in hadneko yandi it's ila his nail could not dasha kinna kano. Na could Shitike, the Wadobanan, Navabia, Shapra, Dobes. Not only can has Neto de la Yaha Job and yes, I see Glico. Aden his Chohodot, Afton his Ashadot, Nate and the hot Tiki. Ado Tandi, Kagodish, Jenshi, Han, Sogoshin. Nekek Perhosen leto bikiti Tanakit Egoshe Eto Nesto Washington has Arabia Asian Hekaistocha. Nike Latit Ahishin Hekatocha. Did the Neshi Gachiko Kochiko Satahakishi Nekado was land department and then Kwaki Hort so then you get it on need. Ado I geshen away at a wind egon gold to the petit nisa. Ado honeken the society the not the best. I'd say Joe Behodos into hate out of that separate that the name beans. Edo tago that's API 8 that says don't quite hot so the don't need. A coti I goshin. Corona bekeert of Tito, Corona and other East Sangi, what nosing. A coeben at Elhosen dole. A cotihon, so had put up in a year, had in again kitchen, adole, dog, a day talk on a presentation and discussions. Ishin Koro, Mr. Kenny Victor, but it Arthur Verma Francisco. I don't know Mr. Red House and kitchen the house on Benega could need Lido Hansa go hata yaha di hot egon denit it or Hansa go Asian koro api and it could all and Lido let Koroshi Asun seen the big Mr. Victor, so I'll give him the floor at this time.
So Carnegie Resource Development Committee, Honorable Chairman Brittany Sicily, Aro Sicily, was Mr. Honorable Herman Daniels. So Carnegie, business in the gay, where you historical debash in the early 90s, I was a part of the Resource Enforcement Agency Rangers. I did the doors can't get on needed fencing all the way from Humpback, no corners, no lay east of Anna, other than the doors can't no. Though that all season get on the entire Polaroid did hard no year. Cause she could she turn in document. Make sure you document it. No, I don't know. So it's a report that day. Yeah, Kushini, honey, that Shine. It was under Ranger Chief Henry Gill. Arshinat Ane, Ranger Lieutenant Charles Chia. With me, with that was seen, days, yeah. Of course, I don't know how the next is. The net. The old gator bench, Ned and Nami, Lane, Mesa Farms, Adishin Nuts Cow, just right north of Shiprock. And there are a whole flock of sheep. Is that your height? No, you had no. Elehate, no, that. What are taking livestock impoundment, you know, Dashish, I wrote the net. A bit choosing day without a permit, without that there was a certain violation that was happening. Of course, LG about us, Neto Leto, did and take a high Saturday. there'll be floods causing the damage to the fencing. Although, the Behanoid of Banahat are open on it, Haloja the graze over there. So hold on, and then Aro the net, Asida tell age fencing. But we know it's a violation. De at die hot or need. Did not die to the horse in defense, what else? The hush repairing that have that good neighbor policy, but don't need over the need. I don't need that. So, you had to do a yagon chit on that down. I don't know how to niche later part of the 90s. North of the Four Corners in Tigi. Had on ya. A lifestyle pound on. But I Janaho Jewish. ROT Ranger, Abbahasan, George Wells again. I work with him. The next, Doana Unletting HD, he's got ethical backgrounds. What I about him. The violation, ADG there you have. He'll warn you, then give you a citation later. So it is about no single list. Out you have it, that's not time. We had a lot of good collaboration. Search and rescue so it is about no single list. So Bahon Snigate out to Adne Argent, it had been there. I show again at Mesa. Not in the Arjo, not a Handele Arjo, the Hokon has is the one towards Makers Creek or Yabo Arjo. They are for Arden. There was some nice prime grazing areas. Adishin Nadans Handela. So I put out Alshin on Shishta. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of historical background. Is she under the Resource Enforcement Agency? She report on the law. That is key to how the so saw it. She and I, Mr. Burma Francisco, with your permission, Jim.
Kushila, Mr. Kenny Victor Koron Kitlason Lagi Kashe Yaha Verma Francisco Korot is not Vice President Shini Jahadowitz.
Quen Hano Nani for the RDC Aroshiaj and Leila Shiri as it could change. Aro here. Aro Kodopa win any be the Dada Bonzaj and did the Ajda Kid have any a Sahadelia Dasi. A co that's still Kodo but it is artifact. The elder, I don't think that I don't try to just make it like 3 minutes or 5 minutes. That's like each, maybe not taking too much time. But you see the double money. We'll just start with Donna. Okay, how do we do that? Okay. Okay, share quite essence paske kodo trana zelena shidil iho ayo on zan hashish ko anyway four corners je aje halet hodon nisha ya tour spah no the wind logo ba honi z ko aje put out the bell niki banat on how ji ara on zaje board has laid peso yata il day aj Nahatla Lakot out of Ahunizi, Ado, Ajitapogani, I think it was Janet Sloman Chi, AD, that's in, grazing committee, grazing permit officer of Shabahat, so Ado, she that's still. Ado, Okuntabogani, another still in Abashbo. Ado, stay, Ado parks and recreation, I won't try, they took over that. I don't know, Joe, Mr. Sabine, of course, some of these descendants from there, Joe, we pay an action, Lao, Daoshkao. I don't know, they did the treaty for conveniency. I don't call the Holoni, a call here now, Abavanda had there. I could end with it, but hey, Joe did. Ako are han anlens and just the are na kata. So hold the whole thing. No, she would have has uncle even that. That has not. I don't say our quote about one. Ako she a ajot out. Little day initial shop. But our Honza was no Honji. I asada. What should they in 100 after no 8 corners. I just thought the alcohol and about money. They're not treated right, they're mistreated. We are the Bogani, done that kill the Yada, Dojo, is done, Mr. So, quiet store, it's a result to indicate what you mean. In the adult, okay, there's not Lahagita. So, now, and that in here, no, we are that cleaning with the last data, and we try to help them. They're on the list, and we like to parks and regulation. We connect this with us. It's down the area and Four Corners area to have some people that decent living down there. Look at the another house. It didn't solve this. There's some documents here. The hot no issues that we'll share those. We have real poor connection here with our internet. The non-system, even the copy machine, so I don't hear it.
Akushila, Ms. Francisco, Mr. Robert Redhouse, they put on that we don't.
Yeah, no, so here, now, no need to the not unleni to Hajoshi that is me. Check out the dot is not pastor or webinar, so say, Sana 2019, yeah, died out of the Nikanan, the shit of no, Nikana. You got the Asian idea, again, the Nissan data. Albanan, she often. I never saw what a hashing head of Jota. What about when they say, oh, Tom, stop as no cardo, believe as no catpa. Not Sahota, not the look other has there, one is near no. So, it are the way that I have not leo. Over when issue that and there are a United States resolution that I had made the legislation it was the note or oceans are not later, the other by not or AI you see like other the doesn't you going away Lebanon and then there's that now what that I should not source a library vote 1868 that a given and a 37th parallel. Then at the airport zone then the level did that and the now say it then busy car they double guns at all not source the not us the what I not source a not job. The permanent urgent no not so see that see a and the about when it's a At ishe de pebenat sosan sosado kana saho. Apot out de pebenat sose ille. Do de hat de bahoin o alle dispute the complaint. Not sos jaho o yo kasdi ye. What out de kapahoin to elia da do hat ishe arts of evidence nini to jaho yalla. So Eben Shane of 1868 treaty never said a article that Abakagi to set eight other airports on the natural Abakai shape of corners that and the other shape and the door Hatashi, the other in us car 1869 at that. Eight so say the honest. Ado 1967 yet a Horzo give us just a Horzo Waliana early 1900 yet Daji so states Italia, Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, Arizona. So it does Ado was just it's give us just it's not eight hours on the set up Horzo. Okay, now Cuba Horzo. What only joke a quest all of 1967 yet a Department of Interior in our source. But the other Yelana skill Ada no Washington Edobin coordinated you have done of Senate on the name of Senate event any Kaya like other and give as what no Tato has George or Edo one of people. A Kaya have a total of 12,000 something acres of car. So Eda so again a whole so a shipping that out or next to Ena so they became the navigator lado and that is on a way I that so Ena so and then Papa when England. What so like success. Det är ett times what else have shown up that those instead of call name. It's just not that whatever the need of others not so the name. Det är not that don't that others not as not so that the name to det but the door is done no that it's det need it's not so say the for the epic. We can't have when Edo, Joe, Podoi, Hahodologist, Jason, so say, Nahonas, Yato, Map that again, a friends, Shaka, and war. AI, nature, it or anarchist, Kanta, Kanda, Hahoya, it are deep when, oh, Eddie Jaded, and that all but if Ashore of Anna, Dick Jeddah, art skill of Alia, that they are no. The point is an adult production, don't have that in so not social to next door has all so better. Oh, his own so also adult and adult know what he did, not that, but adult and the adult and a quite all out the Chinese or the care.
Okay, Mr. Red House, Mr. Shorthair. So I think they put all get put all next week, baby. Now,
that although that I saw study release for she had the show like the pedo no bekasi or see era which is a call. Yo is no a man's card of ad. Ado a pay leader. Then I had a top or he owned the All state line children. Although be the whole state line. You know, die at Pishinake. Tanda, back in 2007. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, in the Navajo Department of Transportation, but this is it only the up to Sanda Kaho. The fence line, you go, you're trespassing your animals right across the river. That's just no other Kaho, you go. 2009 and 2010 at the we had a meeting over in the president's office. We had a meeting before. Although not that they need we're not going to put anything, no documents. Now, so go can't go paperwork. We just going to by words or ask he fancy that he didn't need not that all. I don't know when this other princess of the other the say I mean he would it I DOJ officers and other meetings it leho. Ako although I sit there adna shaho nobody else out there. I'm the only one out there because my animals right there. Then when I got a shitty out there, I was in the other meeting that's a she. I had it sleep in a shadow, let me see. I don't know, died. I know a nay, see, better living with longer. Don't have any friends. The city not that. Although not die, although the city, if river cross the Aji, for 18 behave or bed, because it only league, not only. We hated not die in the 80 then. Was the other Gilvanda. Even now, a kind of dead, it was the city. There are what's it dies at the signal, no paperwork, nothing, no paper trail. Although is Princess Secretary, she don't write down some notes. It all what's that? Other it's years, the last year, no say, I know that not that George Wells, a range, I want to see this done, this fence done before my retirement, didn't I want this fence be put up, didn't of course, other resource, natural resource, and a BRA other is that's the other the last month time they came by, they 3 or 4 weeks will say from you that's the other way he running for behind him is that that's right on our side, but we had to do a meeting on it. That's the on the Blue Mountain tribe. Quite 80 vanilla beyond and hit at you have any document home site list as oh a home site list started with the hot one we have home site. Easy, although that Haji station. I don't lay state line, you don't wash it. I gave about 2, maybe 2,000 feet. There's a state line. Colorado state. I hope it didn't. I said it didn't. Back in 2009, we had a meeting at President's office. I have said to him, let me know, let the resource, let them know, I let them know about it. I'll be the Roxanne of the I want to let them know. Oh, questions at all. but we want to put up the fence in the building. We have the fence already and we have ready to go in natural resource. We ready to go to put that fence up. Second thing, we had a meeting, we had another meeting, she told me, what's that? I call. The fancy at all me. I don't wait short hair. I bet that's not rich so young. Do not as a best kid. They like a bed that's in young that rich so young. She's a other bed that's in that. MYSA, the brand, I don't sit up with the MEP, other better. I want to buy for he asked today, it didn't. Si lahat ini fancy AC the put up where it's going to be the fancy the lahat si you fancy day you want to get it done. Kodogi si kato jao on the paragraph 37 the maybe old 1968 treaty signed in today so chat the other product is all yao I talking on this store. I think it's zero lina what I think other insist case kasi awan sa case pala one hat pada hasi si nota si lawyer than they want to hire a lawyer and they want to go to court and George will arrange it so I guess they have new committees from there. David Senior, David Stoner, David Stoner, natural resource. Yes, the other and has hard to say. It is what this day, so do you have a document, a map that you have some maps of being able to show each view ranger, a brought it into the maps, we have a home site list out there. It's sharp paper, you have a map, so say I have these maps. So so each quite these some of the things down to the port area or further notes. Say what about but the transpassing, no other than no you they but don't know how they're doing a run of horses. She harder that. Hello, about she lay down to my area. I don't need four corners in each other with each. Even I did not die. I did not, I did see signs in this how I know. But in my yard, small plants at all, these all confiscated or these are transpass the especially he said, or you guys don't know what's going on down there today. But they have documents and papers and way short but I don't know who has some papers to be what Adoshi Satoshi Natinai Toskito, Nastoskita, so I did one of this mail. I see what the heck. Yeah.
Kushila, Mr. Short hair, Hitlausen, Lanky, a chair, you have community services coordinator, Bobby, Oscar, he's not responsible, Ms. Tom Chi.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you,
Honorable Inez Chair and all the members who are online and as well as all the Navajo Nation representatives. I apologize to our audience here because our PowerPoint that I wanted to give this morning machine is out. So I'm going to give it verbal, but you will have the opportunity to view this through your legislative associate and also I'm just going to follow along what we were able to do. And I think, again, the purpose of this meeting really is to talk about the issues, I think, as a community, because it regards our chapter boundary. And what I did present or provide to the committee is a PowerPoint regarding the boundary outline of our chapter so that you have that in place. What I do not have is the actual agreement that was made by the Navajo Nation that Thomas Shorthair mentioned. What is in this packet is the Navajo Nation boundary and 37th parallel, which is in question, that was provided by our grazing official that outlines on there the approximate acres of 1,206.44 acres, which I believe is the area that we do need to recognize. As the historical facts, I would like to present that portion just so that all our members know a little bit about Tisnasbus. Tisnasbus is the name was recognized in the early 1880s, and we are the only chapter out of the 110 chapters that reside in 3 states, that being Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. And more specifically, in regard to this issue of the boundary, is that the San Juan River runs northwest, creating a 13-mile boundary between Tis and the chapter. Our chapter boundary is nearly 364.7 square miles, and that being 233,433 acres. And what you don't get to see is all the beautiful pictures that are in this presentation, but I do hope that you do look at that. Of historical, in my research, as part of the historical occurrences that happened back in 1957 to 63, we did come across the 3 resolutions. They were proposed resolutions of the Navajo Tribal Council, one starting back in March of 21, on March 21st, 1957. And that is noted as CM-41-57. And what it basically did was authorize the chairman with the advisory committee approval to enter into agreement to leasing permit for oil, gas, and other mining purposes. There was another resolution of the advisory committee of the Navajo Tribal Council, May 9th of 1957. And that agreement was with the Ute Mountain tribe of the Ute Mountain Reservation, which is in a CM-22-57. We also have the resolution of the Navajo Tribal Council approving a bill to determine the rights and interests. And that was on May 9th, 1963. And that was in and to certain lands in the state of New Mexico. And I do have a copy of this. I would like to provide that to you, they're not stapled, so I will provide that to you. But I believe that it is important to note that because of the issues ongoing there, and it appears that, and one of the issues that we identified between the Navajo Nation and the Ute Mountain Tribe in regard to this chapter boundary, as our president Kenny Victor mentioned, was the Resource Enforcement Agency. That being the area of fencing, and then another area, the natural resources, which I just alluded to with the resolutions that I included. And also the family and clan impacts, the cultural impacts to our community and the people that reside there. In terms of the issue, I just kind of want to extend a little bit more on that. And I'm not sure if President Victor mentioned that with the Ute Tribal Rangers, we did in itself went through livestock impoundments. It would be great to find those documents, if not to get the Ute Mountain Tribe to produce those documentation. So we will have that on record as well. I believe too that there is a continual pursuit of citations, as Mr. Thomas Shorthair mentioned, in regard to the livestock crossings, and also the blockages that of the actual fencing that has occurred back in the 1990s. So that is in the area of the both the Ute Tribal Rangers and as well as the Navajo Nation. So on our end with Navajo Nation, I would really like to, I think we would like to see those documents, citations and so forth. So that being said, our Navajo Nation and Ute tribal relations appear to be another issue, that being the lack of communication between both, the accountability, and the lack of chapter involvement. And from that standpoint, as a community services coordinator here at the chapter, I do not see that we do have a lot of that in place here. So if you could help us out as a resources committee to work with us, also with DOJ and other entities to help produce that, that would be really help in understanding the issues a little bit more. And in regard to the issue going to natural resources, there are natural resources that we have, that being water, and water with the San Juan River. I basically, I'm sure that is, the key is to, wanting that access, the oil and gas access that has was proposed in that timeline back in the early 1950s, even moving forward. And other environmental impacts that we always seem to overlook, which is our flora and our flora, which is our plants, those that our animals grade, they produce, well, actually they graze on a daily basis, that being our livestock, our horses, our sheep, and also all the other animals that that we also who do utilize that, plus the indigenous plants that are only here within the Tisnas Four Corners area. And those, so many have been designated as being very, what I would say, only indigenous to this area, and are at that point of being annihilated because of the impacts that we have experienced from multiple industrial pursuits, and then also our air quality too. So, it's very hard to not recognize those issue areas. One of the big things that happened yesterday, as Verma, our Vice President Verma Francisco talked about, and okay, before I go into that, in regard to those natural resources, I'm pretty sure that's why our Ute Mountain Tribe is wanting to take this to court. They have a lot to lose based on just with that specific area of the natural resources. Again, that being water, oil and gas, helium, and other environmental issues. As far as yesterday, we had a preliminary meeting with a lot of the descendants that come from that area who do not, some who do have grazing permits, but this was before the grazing permit area, whereby these people count. They have been impacted through their family and clan relationships, through disagreements that have occurred based on the grazing laws that were put in place. But overall, I think as a resources committee, we need to recognize that they do have inherent rights to all these areas. And then also the Navajo Nation, that accountability to those permittees. We heard from many of them, it was important to capture their story because these permittees were who held these grazing or those land rights at that time, but prior to grazing, gave up valuable land for the development of the Four Corners. And as a result of that, they were promised many things, and they are gone today. And now their descendants here are being not acknowledged. And, you know, through the access to homesteads, to the vendors, being vendors who want to produce their art, but are asked to go through the process and are being not properly treated by the Four Corners Monument there. So those are some areas that really I feel needs to be addressed. The cultural impacts are really important. We have a lot of grazing community members who graze their animals, and the impacts to the flora and fauna there is just undeniable. When you go out there and you look at that, you can already see how that has impacted them. So it's important, I think, for us, you know, as a nation to recognize all these testimonials and to work with them. It's not about just one landholder or one grazing permittee. It's about all these families, extended families, 7 generations from now who want to come home. We talk about wanting to bring our people home. What are they going to come to when we don't put things in place for them? And now is the time to talk about that because of these issues that are going on. They need to be a part of that story. And so that really, in a nutshell, is what this is, I believe, about. We see it as a chapter. That is our responsibility to reach out and to help out our community members and educate them and have them follow along in the process. And you see many of them here who take that to heart. And I feel for them. And with that, I want to thank you.
Thank you, Lucinda. Really appreciate your presentation. Kache Burma, you asked community members, 3 of them, that can speak for 3 minutes each. Kayla, Pushtan, Asana. She said she's going to talk about the issues.
So today, Commissioner Annie and Sunny, even yeah, as a very na to patient. I think support this. Wait. Kita so that definition ala adniaro ad Chiaho is Chido, grandmother, at my father's nessa. One lady, for the grandma is no issue for them. And there's a mother the phone and just on the name there with the about the down not the not die, which are it up, which at the end, you know, of her. It got then that on summer camp when you are in the I don't know what she did. I went to camp. One that is finally, I don't forgot, no, I did the court, to be court, one lineage is also fine, no, yeah. I feel that I didn't the nan, that short hair, it's not the comparison rate, it could be Glen or Yen or Yacha. I did about when you see on the body, it are the two of kid. What are about concern, it's not other. Concern it or take a head or chip off a chip, no what they do. Peter Curry, yeah, and I don't know, way, Kenneth or Frank, the parents. Yeah, it's all quite kid about when he's in kid that I need cutting, you know, so I saw it, no, awful G. And now, how do she no star? Are they? It's not no. I don't also have them a show. What the action I see town that our daisy partially out and give up carefully in that or college about shit. So I saw no I showed on it. The teaching NATO at Plato was and share with our this case upon and what I had or the Kaya, Washington, Beton, Sita. It all is just a list to us. Other research, many 1868 treaty. So, what our Lacana, Nevada does. I can't with eat on it, no. It's just what I'm teaching. It is stated out. I was very changed out natural base of any done he don't do carefully. He don't drop by any then she don't about Hanson. Joy made missionary but he probably be a till. Oh, yeah, I think she don't about this.
Yeah, Nana at Danish. Corosio, not Bahito, Mr. Red House. In Peshban Sana.
Ishinat Ani. I don't the Honorable Rick Nance, though. Honorable committees, the standing committees. On Ego A. Grenahano Yagi. Isans Basi. Ayonaha Nahayo, not us, at the state level, at the federal level. Nahano Yagi to Nahano Naniki, using BIA, the land department. Thank you for being here. Ado Kondo Ancient Das Ne. Ado Deepen Na Eya Quake Baye Tito. Ado the Quidishin on Ego Basana Stream. Akudi Kaya, Quakisa Anigi, or Zohat Ninigi, to Adi of Vanahade. Ako na Kikot Ancient Dish. Dina so Sun 1868 treaty not so Sunny ABG is local A Abijani and 37 parallel. Akwataw will be the boundary of the Navajo Indian reservation. Aliyah. It's in the treaty. 37 parallel. Now, prior to the same year, 1868, the Ute Mountain Indian tribe, the treaty signed India the same year. In that treaty, it says that the southern border of the Ute Mountain Indian tribe will be at Colorado territory. Now, Colorado territory was once Kansas territory. But as it was transferred to Colorado territory, if you look at in the history of 37 parallel, sits right on the southern border of Colorado territory. So there's no question of where the boundary line is according to the two treaties. Now, that's one thing. The second thing is that if there is ever a dispute, doesn't talk to treaty, but if there is ever a dispute of two tribes over land issue, that the Department of Interior, Bureau of Indian Affairs, has a separate committee in Washington that will speak to and address to any land dispute between two tribes. So that being that, that's where it sits. So I'm only looking at what's legally made by Congress and also by this treaty that has not been amended in any ways since 1868. So the boundary is sitting at 37 parallel. That's no question there. I don't afford so. I don't think out the 18 kiko. No, that don't have a hope. It had other effort, so she a young day. Quake it ahead out the equake. Ebes it out or what that echon into a quake echon in good that book. Dodo are quite if you look at the map. Dodo are quite a talk leader. Live that the nanas don't ever. The don't understand. I don't quit the edo that Ninigishi a low what you call Kodoha after Godana slender. The she ate her caution is door. The what air to what avans out to. I would I did not eat. I would I Washington don't know what you know. You did not eat. He would she ate shit in there. Ado estado shenans ishla bananet khan ishmas anishkenet down. I put out in the tone ado de.
Mr. Redhouse Koro Nikitla Hassan Laikido Road the Lebanon the Lebanon and Lord Dida Bahons and Lobayanski at in the Bayanski. Let's all now Kehilnek Ashe Koro beer. Red feather Bahido.
Again, I'm here representing my brother, Eric Sloman. He resides over there in the Jean and James Sloman's residence. He does have a legitimate home site lease, as do I. I live about half a mile northwest of Four Corners Monument. And as kids, we were raised there. We spent our summers there with my grandparents, Jean and James. And we used to go along the river there with their livestock, the cattle. And we used to play in the river there. So that's what I remember as a kid growing up. And there's other issues that have arisen since we've been there. We had a family reunion or a family gathering a few months ago. I believe it was in May. And we have to access our home. We have to go through the Four Corners Monument. And Karen Yazzie there, she always gives us a hard time. She knows who comes from there. She knows the majority of the descendants. My aunt here, Frances Begay, which she grew up there. My mother, Emma Redfeather, my aunt Betty. These ladies were raised there. They've heard sheep there. They know the boundaries. They've been told stories. So with that, it's become very cumbersome to get to home. Eric is my brother. He stays there. He has health issues. In time where the transport, the non-emergency medical transport comes for him. Karen there in the Four Corners Monument did not allow the transport to go across to pick him up. There was also an incident where the ambulance was called and they had to cut the gate there in front so they could get across. So we asked for a key, and that's like asking for a liver there. You had to give up. They didn't give us a front gate key. They gave us a side gate key. Even then, she wanted proof that we have a home site lease, which I did provide to her. We gave that to her. We gave her my home site lease along with Eric's home site lease. Even then, it's still hard to get through. I didn't appreciate how my relatives were questioned to get through to their home where they grew up, where they herd sheep, where we did things as kids. They were questioned, they were denied. They don't know. The people who work there don't know who come from there. We have extended family members that serve in the military, that come back, that want to see home. They're denied that access. They're told to pay. My grandparents told me when I was growing up that we had my great-grandparents who had that permit, that a proportion of that was given up to withdraw that Four Corners Monument. With that, they promised that the grandkids would have the opportunity to sell there at the Four Corners Monument. We would not be denied access to our home there. Somewhere along the way, that message was lost through the chapter. And now, like I said, they just totally alienated us. So that's something that I believe that needs to be addressed. I've taken this up with Mr. Jonathan Nez. I've talked with Shabala. All they said to me is, I'll look into it. I have not heard from them to this day. This happened about 3 years ago. So those are the issues that we face trying to get home to the Sloman residents. So those are serious issues. Lord forbid that anything happens to Eric and that gate's locked and they deny him medical attention there. That's going to be huge on the monument and the person denying that access for Eric. So Verma, I know, and Kenny have been really considerate. They've been reaching out. CHR has been going out there for Mr. Sloman. They reached out to me when they couldn't get a hold of Eric. He could not be here because he's out for medical issues. So that's why he's not here, and I'm representing him, and I'm always doing things for Eric, and the chapter officials do know. And I appreciate you guys' help going out there, delivering water, and people go across to the house, they steal things. We bought a new stove for Eric. We bought plywood to try to, repair part of that roof. All those things were stolen. So to me, that tells me the people at the monument there at the gate are just letting whoever just go straight across. When I ask kindly that can I give you a list of who can get across, the extended family? And that's been ignored. They've taken the horse corrals. They've taken my grandparents' hogan with no supervision, nothing. No one questioned at the gate, but when it comes to the own family, then they want to question. They don't want to let anyone in. But that's all I have to say. Thank you, Mr. Nez.
Akushila ke ro nan aida no senigi isnas pasto nikisnda hasosne do shidne no senigi ke da no senigi do nahaut in denigi ajnota bes faz aro bes kahot so do nikhe kujitanne Ni Glenigan his kaho joki. Eshi di kuro. Ishi by Shido le do not aki ego en here but it ahi. Yan sida kesto but better husband. I don't that the BIA has answered. She so ya had Lido le. I don't that the Kuro Navajo Land Department, oh, Mr. Betsui, she as though not on hitch and hadots. A coach, the Corona hitch and I saw Jake, Janano, Senegoshan, and quit is not musty. The open nagi, Keda, Tility, Red Mesa, those I should be top with all that said that. So here, I don't cache nos none at all, either. We're on B, discussions on fencing between the Navajo Nation and Ute, Mountain Ute tribe and the land intrusion. So this discussion will be with the Navajo Nation Department of Justice, Natural Resources Unit, Division of Natural Resources, Navajo Land Department, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So we will give some time over to Ms. Blockhart from the Navajo Nation Department of Justice. If you would provide a statement for us, we would have certainly appreciate that. Ms. Blockhart, you have the floor.
Good morning. This is all good information. I think it would be helpful to have like some of the documentation that's being referenced. I will say at one point, we were in discussions with the Ute Mountain Ute tribe on a proposed fencing agreement, and this was probably like back in 2018. And we were negotiating the agreement with their legal counsel, but that never moved forward. I believe during that time, Mr. Ortega, I think was his name, had left Ute Mountain Ute tribe, and the agreement never moved forward. So I know we had discussions on the fencing issue and trespass issues with respect to feral horses back in February of this year. And at that time, I do recall that, you know, he did mention the agreement in that he would provide documentation to the nation. And I don't know if he's provided any of the committee members with any documentation with that respect, but I just wanted to point out that we were in discussions with them about negotiating a fencing agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blockhart. Our advisor, Mr. Tahi, will provide you some documents for your review at the Department of Justice. And we most certainly will have a follow-up meeting sometime soon and have your recommendations as well from the Department of Justice. Thank you, Ms. Blockhart. Next, we have Division of Natural Resources. Ms. Bitta Becker, are you on the call? Then we'll have Mr. Betsui here provide a response from Navajo Land Department as well.
So good morning, everybody. My name is Byron Bitsui, the GIS supervisor for Navajo Land Department, in attendance for Mr. Mike Alona. Just hearing from the information from the community members. I was also notified by Mr. Alona, if needed, we could supply maps to help out with the situation that has arisen based on the fencing. I do have some stuff pulled up. I did create maps for the community, but if you need, I can print those out and have them sent here to the chapter as well. But the 37th parallel is actually north of the state line, about 450 feet plus or minus of the state line from on Arizona and New Mexico side. So it's actually north is based on the treaty. And from reading, some of the field notes from GLO, General Land Office, before it became BLM, it did state they were kind of thinking that the state line was gonna intersect at the 37th parallel and the 109th longitude, but that didn't happen based on the information provided for the surveyor back in 1857. So, and I'm looking at it, I see that fence line. It's south of the 37th parallel line, about anywhere from about 300 feet. So it's north of the state line about 100 feet, 150 feet, all the way along. But it varies based on whoever put in the fence line. I haven't gotten that information, but if need be, anybody that needs any kind of maps, or whoever wants to take over this whole concept, that we can provide that information for you as well. And I can pull up some of the old original surveys and documents for you guys from GLO. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Bichoy. I'm going to go to BIA at this time, and after that, we'll have the floor open for discussion by the Resources and Development Committee and the community. So, Mr. Mahoja, your staff.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'll turn this over to Ms. Ness in a second. I was just reviewing a legal memorandum from our attorneys from 1983 when we first brought this issue up internally. And our attorneys at the time, and it probably still remains the same legal analysis, determined that this is a dispute as between two treaties that were ratified at the same time. And our attorneys at the time believed that to resolve this issue, we would need to, or the tribe would need to seek congressional resolution. The fence apparently was placed on the 37th parallel and not the state line. We don't know the history behind that. And in any event, we believe that either one or both of the tribes would need to go to Congress to have this resolved. So I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Ness and have her speak a little bit more to it.
Ms. Ness?
Yes, good morning. I'm actually going to, as I'm new here and I'm still myself catching up on this, I'm going to turn this over to Miss Mary Lujan, our Realty Officer there in Shiprock too. She has more information and history on this subject. Mary?
Thank you. Ms. Lujan, could you come up here and have the microphone, please?
Thank you, Chairman Nez. Again, my name is Mary Lujan. I'm with the BI Shiprock Agency in Shiprock. This has been, as everybody's aware and has spoken to, this is a long-standing issue, the boundary between the Mountain Ute and Navajo tribes. I think Mr. Francis Redhouse outlined the facts real well. It's the same facts that we have. It's the original treaties that cause this dispute. And there's, as Mr. Mahoja mentioned, we found some documentation from our legal side of the BIA that says that it would take a congressional act. It also says that there's some an act that was passed in 1885 that addressed another dispute, also between the Ute Mountain Ute tribe and Navajo, but that is northeast of the Hogback. At that time, what they did was they appointed, the US District Court, 3 judges out of New Mexico to address that issue. So one of the recommendations was either getting congressional act or having Congress again appoint, the US or District Court to address this issue, that it would be a similar situation. So again, as Mr. Mahoja stated, it would take, an act of Congress or appointing judge to release that. And so far as my opinion, a more recent or a faster thing to address the fencing would be for Navajo Nation DOJ to address that agreement that they spoke about earlier, that Ms. Blackwood spoke about. I mean, for the immediate, but there's still that longstanding issue between the 2 treaties. Also, short hair also mentioned the fact that they were asking, do you have documentation like leases and so forth? Byron, I don't know if with land department, if there's some research that can be done. I'm aware that in the early 1980s, Navajo Land Department had a team that came out and did inventory along that whole stretch. So that's something that you might want to have the staff at Land Department research. Because I'm aware that they were here like a whole month doing that research and addressing any improvements along that stretch. So I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Lujan, for your statement. And Mr. Mahoja, could you clarify the 37th parallel orders, as well as how this would require an act of Congress to resolve? Could you reiterate that, sir?
Yes, Honorable Chairman Nez. Our attorneys at the time, and I don't believe this has been revisited since that memorandum was issued. It was Congress who determined where the boundaries were going to be located, and they did that through ratification of the treaties with both tribes. The Ute Mountains Treaty was initiated prior to Navajo's by a few days, but they were both proclaimed by Congress on the same day. And when Congress makes a decision, it's Congress that has to modify its decisions. So, and that was our attorney's legal advice at the time in 1983, Honorable Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mahoja. Shanant ano senigi ado koro shanano senigi di koro Washington ba on nishwas under Department of Interior Bureau of Indian Affairs. Alanja Dasatahagi Kuja Regional Director Mr. Mahoja. Enego Hashtedo Nesigi Ego go yaha Kenda not good not ani a chico Congress is na patato need eco and the Hala atan al source for that na she hot ayena hona abe has ani like abe a Jehovah has aja Kenda not good hasht an 8 leko bansala John. We still have hope here. Although is not sponsors Ado that the Red Mesa has Ajido, Twasakan has Ado, and it has Ado, which have a topic. The chapters in the Ligi ended the Noache or not Anines, Ado Chadak An has Aji. Dig upon Jogi, the 4 corners, northeast of Hogback, Argent. Great ocean Jogi, a jaw. Arts for the chapters in the Ligi. Resolution sad bayetana hodit ahi hato sago. Hash edor ne do nego bakaki sad. Edi chahot zanja. Navajo Nation President do Beshbahasa Anan Lenny Resources and Development Committee because Aja ended the DBIA because Aja do Navajo Land Department because Aja do Navajo Nation Department of Justice because Aja at ended the Krosa Betanahudi Tahi Bakaki Bishop of Bakago. Dik photo deni kedo belando lesto nego. Hashtag nis the four corners kahot zoto nage the pensa kahot zoto di koche your torch kahot zoki nage chadak on ho consto ka apia jo agent the cushion sense taniki e hajoti de Kenda nahat grede Congress for the geheke a year for one. Hashtag please. What nego da koi chapters betra igi sa betana hadi I had a dot seat. Aro nihita dot iti pesh bas anne clinici clinici bas anadi pleti the hotego pes. The Department of Justice, Arabia has Aja, Ada Division of Natural Resources, Do Koto Land Department. Besasati Leto de Quisa Betana Hadit Ahi Hadados Nis. Ako eben nache Kodona sheet Ihikit Edo Leto Navede. Kenda Nad Gehas Adenat Ani. A Jeho one Heidi Kishi Edi Kodo Behas Ani Edna Heki Sabetana Hadit Ahi Congressional House Bill. Shimpa had the dog Nati has Edo Nate Nego. Ado Ot out ended up Ehish Edo Nitla. The Kotaha one has added Sedia Tipti needed. Ado Nahat Ahaki Hart Eaten. Ishe corona hit national not senido the Bevanon are not senido the qui chapters in the beginning ishi said a best showed nego a happy big at all Beshmas and Northern Agency getting go stop at Sparhouse and doing the doti yahons and all less. What I even natching coronas be nasta nadity katla. A corrosion and I know Senegi honorable members of RDC, Lashban, Idos, Kit Aro is not Sangi. Shanant, I know Senegi RDC. Those upon Idos, Kit go away, Corosani, Asago, Bapana Hidesh, Atoni Jahadot, Ranja.
I had not, Mr. Nez, Shea Priscilla Weaver, Hunchia. There's a son and slant for the controversial chain, a sheehin, a dash another dose as a cardi, a dash a chedo, aquado, now shadow aqua, and all my life. I'm 45. I wish I was 40. I'm 63 years old, and I know, but I do know because of my ancestors who have lived here in Kisanspas. The Ahadpo area, that's where I come from. Got the Ado, the Ishiteji, Sonia. We grew up together, so my dad Nishan, the Deji Eshes Nishan there, so I'm related to Sonia. Ado, I'm a Club C Vice President of Tisanspas Community, and all these documents that you are saying that we need to have for Tisanspas chapter, I would like copies of it in digital format or hard copy, whatever's convenient. And I will share it with the Club C members of Tisanspas, and so we can move forward with this commitment to resolve this issue. So, Idea, thank you for your time and thanks for attending. Yeah.
Ms. Wheeler, please, keep your phones on mute. None, whoever is on the phone here with us. Kroya ha jigidi na sosan san nenigishi. I just thought nas nil na senigi, Mr. Kinney Victor out of Burma, Francisco, out of Mr. Darren Yellowhorse, la honsatana, out of Ordner Lenigishi, Kojish Nakana Nashiki, advisor in Lenigishi, Kuro Betel Chahadit, Zito, Kuro not Sosnichi, or Lito, Dini Tosniki, La Kurota Shanes, so land department there. A Koti art and that not Soshikin, the heat, Lashi, or Le. Bayada, Kigiro, Ben, Kiss in the house, Neto, Kuro, Nin, Hidatis. Koros lago baka o jin le. The koron hilchon shouldn't of senegi do shenanta, but all a large and hajot lego 8 partners nasa. The way hate out on Hans's case the koroin hitchahadis. The koroban has net and denegi a lack of communication between you and Navajo Nation. Ebe no corona source Nahel source. Jo ahis Nenegishi did any resources and development committee need Lenegi Beshbans Anbits Anajaki the Ute Nation Pro Chairman Lenegi do Begat Ahidosa Council at Tatan Lini teleconference, but let's see late January and that a codig boundary Nikidat is Atan Nego Yahadasti, Nota, do Nikidown Hidden, Yen Hista had Neki, see feral horses Nikidney. Over Lohan de Jeto, Sashido rather than Kidney than the Ajo Kijeko, Eyasha, what's some nature. Then Kojon Hail, what go you had that the Lotto and Hida needs in it that the nation hand the Hedon Neko Ebe in Kahas Pachodana. A con Hilebo Hosa, she had Shin has Nido, I said, as a Tokashi, Fado, the Lotats a god. A hot end the deed a queer yat kitten Leniki up on Nido at Dengo at a put our shipping in a door chi kita. Eskeda belakana don han neta she eget ashik edakidi nes at ego dida not tato dida ket ahada dabedin nebe heda dabedin ne ashik edakidi nekis anida distrid yaha hit ashi ida keto don sigida hojona bekiel chita. Today, il soskot ha han today case. Ask Edanit lean the Sateheda part or Dato decreases the hodzo. Queen and Shkane Adan laid on the best son Kujeta Hijahan, not a side de net. I adult Jod Nebasto, grass adult order Chilibichi Char. I don't let Shaba had Nana had a stock, Gato Dadus, Katnas the North, Edo died and net oi, Helashan, the islands and Goako Sherhush, the Oberture, Chesha. She let Charles is out the Choshakona, and the Sitaya that Zitla. And Kirach, no, those headers. Even in a Korojo, the net of a church, Aro yat the holia. Dia do jobe yade kita. Erota oran kitna zon het shafa shita as poshet tende. Shide de beil chasa. Hat era nahot e halle ko ea nid nabich do grasok ebish do nito quishit ah. Dia then the Behojin Shichita Hijan, Nishita Hijan, Kelly, Trizet, Sahishi, at Nego all yet communication. Note that has adopted and any litigation or I see wheat net at Poho take on that could have Nethaya. Ako kadetik abahanits and nepping hitting the horse negado from Mr. Short hair. Ne Texas nation is like a dog shin is out of it. Ashino da pestakin ba. Don and Ashin but better has the neighbor in a 80 base. And a pasta the resources development committee. Is static at I don't understand here that it is Legislative Council. I got it shopper has is Department of Justice. Land Department issue at those at the BIA Korot the Jis touches ego. David had to see three Koro Mr. Chi. Navedos at Didon here where I don't you have Mr. Mahocha, do Miss Cheryl Curley, do the art at Dina Nest, and he's then he's the now the concerns. How do we address this issue? Behodos at Kehuna go Ebahun, Ejoti. What ending a John that not that or that the name for don't need the she arrowhead elko again else I don't need she Joe could all Washington bound this was Arch and Nego a year Jeho one not on the state of least not at Nego for a codo a rushing out of our the shit I think I could need all this. Akona kegona kroba or jigi lack of chapter involvement. I is nenigishi korota nas nil of senigito the nan of seni na yo nesiki ekis nas neshkoti a jo has edadi ne. Need a question son hit nas nego kunza hol just oyoda ki tego or to another deed neko. Ade ashon sahanan hit it all contan hot ban hinne gobnina en khano yaron hinan I in hit don need no zishi bakan hit chon enigishi hash edi ne a koti hot ego o hajo kitna an nishiki da tege benina de hoshne da bedi nidot and his kujenda as giz. Adodi livestock impoundment nego beha oji ne ledon he beka shidon he the better satna na region neyago ocean bekedo eat hala ajipesed need of the kaya hot so jiki hot and the shin he ledon he better he the beka shishir bada has ya shit ashana hala hot esa ehwe hallo go joba hot chiliansa Aro Shahinzana. A qua has Agishi if to Joba Ahonosandole. Nare, not that Nikanad Losh Ajo Iya Shink Besset need or Le Hala what out Nikebe has Ani Hola John Kesna. Oro the Naka of Tinki Four Corners descendants. We monument at the hand, not dig kayat knee, what are Sadzo le. Kuchiko eso lake a hodzo, Kuche hosto ha hodzo, Kuche yayo torja ha hodzo, do the pensa ha hodzo. The quaggy monument at all knees, Neniki, the cushy qui kehano, Slowman's day no yedo, Yazi hanoba ha odzi. Dequi what edo les niki imagine ha chocolate dog for state priority nene ne chayed on him masana arsenal soft that the yotja go what abache hada isti la aro a monument earlier at Jonko host and alia gishi doshin hik a argent which as a bar hutch has lain. Do that's a large than hit that Nelda. A asset that the should give a board, had nego that put long about Hunson. A do step at on nego. We try as nil, nothing do, are net a red mesa do, could over top at all. a queer job, had a short zigo. Nicket and we put that I don't need to put out a hanal source that's a put long father. A large that but all need that is shaded or put either. And the sound here change, I should not send again. And it's for it and any liquid. Navajo is and get that no in hit out shit on gate and any let it. Nevese dia Ethiopia rakita sansatana ho kosko kwaki eshoran. Nebes mas anna ho de ho the kushina che tabiti nero che and nego chaga ho zango asante la. Nehe priority hodo leslie hit the neck we care hat enege. Did the Babylon source not it is ado quilation ha gedo sediatic oliaki. I but action gifts and large don't need and how you're not all than hit on Nikala Anna squared and then not clean it on knee. And lay hard at city for that. For an nest, there's a great for the nest, don't is also that Argent the she care about what it or let it on knee. Ishi quick dig four corners and negation not egra the band sack case or ended Nehikodo nego height out and away queen Tsuneshji that should jag, but that's not nego she. I hate Egodan fight it or they maybe 25% can be prioritized to the local community here. And Hinhasala. Ado kon bechito ka beshbas ana ruknes bohne ko hon kidin ni be orse do ta sheda go shanta hidos ato bodo shikeda ha benna bega hara shidoni de dihot ege o shapa honoso Yat kido edo horat egit eda tehat eda hashtedo nisten zango over Lincoln, it's got the Nabi Yanchi, Wokai, Dodo, Nesta. Dick and hidden now, Hayuk, Akuyado, cheat. How many of you have social media? Raise your hand. Facebook. Beta Hosia. Yeah, Beta Hosia. Then, Chichan Hadzi. They don't know how long slash it, Nela. Ayo yont yans tinan then should no ayo shay is ashe ko arosh hansi te yosh yat esh hat shkyosh jebe skis da yo later yego World War II veteran no nationalist top din ashe sa not la to den ni tala ya ko nela akko ndeshna Diego should is unfortunate. Action does lean. I is all get action. Shosim Wallahonda, Krabe, Kashioballahonda, Krege, feral horses, though feral cattle, Shibadin. Nahatchin, the Katigo, the head of Kaham, Mahakako, action, and the action edo, the action, Eo, Gala. Ishi pena hotel nesta hamara hoje na nesta bi hajiya do obodhiki bichiya na halo pena hotel kiniki be korok abe jotsi do be hoine zina odgela sad even na sad yego ba hanosen arabiga hada kido nene social media be na ka kone halan hisa be yachiki be tit or theta or Nehza be yastki a enhet sodot satos no ben afzi ko ben kene zinos evet adigen hidot sin. He ba honosan. Nehet so korot sotil zin sodil zengo nehet so digen eta. Yenetelgen eta. Hajon sahak kesiki koro be hatziko eol gela so. Arnold Scoto, Yod, and Kino, Nido, Yon, Inch, Nego, Ego. put out a hasa be hachiyat the luck is the tea, hajayona e gato, hajabi, jatoman sick his donut, hashi, belik as though left a chin the baby, yachit left. So that take out a communication, nenegi that. Hot end she asked at the debate that of the Lenigi Korovenich or G. Kishin not art as I played when we have a meeting. Asian partners, Netherlands, of Senegit, a hand that of the Hashid or left. Quaggy that said, Tagahot under that, and her got it. I Koroda Nahas town. Nich and had we would like to have an in-person meeting somewhere. Perhaps at Wonder Rock, where you will have access to leadership, Department of Justice, Division of Natural Resources, Land Department, and the BIA has Aja, Mr. Mahoja, though Aja and Naja Tanahas, Tanaki, Kayapata, Tiki real estate, nature had a Adult or navigate but it ahidation is a bay nascot or nate not source bay, so better not it ahe. A cockro. And I know, then again, honorable members of RDC, do you have any comments or questions?
Chairman, this is Philford.
Nay, at a base bahas on and Atlanta. Hello, sir. Oh, the Schlesman, Corona House.
This is Daniel.
Oh, thank you, Chairman, and members of the Resource and Development Committee and staff and everybody that's listening in, including DOJ and BIA. President Nez is in the process of meeting with Chairman Hart, and I believe it's going to happen this month. It's been an ongoing thing trying to schedule a meeting between those two, having a government-to-government meeting. Because of the election, I know Chairman Hart is heading to the general election with 7 other candidates that are running for that seat. So they are also in their election, including some of the councilmen. So I don't know when that meeting will take place. The main issue is the fencing, and it does involve the state of Utah. It's not only feral horses, it's feral cows and donkeys. Not too long ago, we had a moose that came into our area from their region, but we didn't say anything. Case regarding the 37th parallel, Four Corners National Monument will be on the north side of San Juan River, kind of like on a hillside. Are we ready to take on the relocation of Four Corners National Monument across the river? That's the question. I know DOJ came to me during the, I believe it was the 23rd Council. And one person cannot negotiate on behalf of the Navajo Nation. No. And that shouldn't be happening. That didn't, but it was not in black and white. It was all a verbal. I don't know if that's still their opinion, but of course that was under a different administration. Just for your information, Chairman, we like to be included in that meeting that meeting OPVP, like want to be involved and be sitting at the table. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Davis, Philford, Koro, we would like to meet at a location where there's enough space for BIA, Division of Natural Resources, Land Department, as well as the Office of the President and the Resources Development Committee and East North Bunch Chapter officials. They need to always be included in this meeting. Mr. Philip Koroba Hensi, President is going to meet with the chairman of Ute Mountain U, Chairman Hart. Junda Aja so na needs go but you're not a well gisla. The Koro and it all Saint of Bekashi over north down the Gishin. Shin so Nabikia to out ego so but Chada see January and Ada could hold just got could a tour that he needs ATVs then kids cut the jig on a way 4 corners don't they hog back over the needing the ato average the kata or Sanjo Yegon and on the Sholoniship and now but so Ashay Herman Daniels, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Chairman Naz, honorable members of Resources and Development Committee. Adonana Kudo, his staff, I don't hear that it Kudo, DOJ, Kudo, Ado Kudo, not Senegi, has it's not buff. Not on in a Senegi Kudo has in so a Nishan Dahos net. Adonana Ajake not in the Cheska thing. The question about Ben Kishan Dahos Neko. Ado Kudo says not Ash. Ayahanat the Honorable Filfred. Or Ayahanat the what did Boko. But though Nezikudo, any what is Nagago all the way. Nagaita 4 corners. So Nana set 9 was at set now got the wall. Ain't a certain dark creature quizzical. I don't lego yes, I see a certain dark creature. I don't know this case. It doesn't have Yagit and so the band this case. Or the snoot of the cheat either. Got Nahashin, Lada, Nagade and Chicago, Nagade and Ute Mountain. Arda. What's the other war? In yard of the other war. Nahashin Lada Argentalis. Adonana Koto, Adet or Nahada Netan. And his art and at the snow was in you. Dahal, Yao Argent the Hack, the snow 8 or the cheat the 80. But could all them. Other question what and a great dam. Not if Argento what Argento could all them. The San Juan Southern Paiute tribe, Arge, Sto. So you know, Khana, Sto Arge. Shinnet has no Arge, Adana, added the last Shinnet has no Quizzigo. A Quizzido, ya, what Equiza. A co. Such as Sadan, Netta than Lessa. What are the well, Jesu? So yon dal, Mr. Smith, the Sadan. Sadan, Netan, then again, not die, yon dal, Mr. Soda. Oh, yeah, the Choda, so there, it's not Asada. Quada nego Papa Hodgen Ya that Lord even not to or that echo cannot as Lord the chair what end echoes tweedle funny. It's cannot the Lord the well these. What that's it illegal yoba on his yon that's a jillago. Wait, what another yet Lord. That's a jill what other lady the well these. This city or you. Body Kayot Egg. Kodone, Nezukodo, Anigo, Ibayaski Kodo, Snat Armostenegi, and in a great I see Kodo. In Yekodo, should that the net, I see Jonato Lescodo, I see Nabanaki, Kikodo, Nenegate, Akodo, Hada, Sigita. I see Yao, this Ashodo. Are the Keho to Ego, Siego, this Asha. Which. So either which being Jaga, o actually I yahoo this asha Adonana Quado, Navajo Nation Parks and Recreation, as in for Apen and see each don't negate four corners. As and negate in the Shigi, so ni batch hot Quado and Quado Shamasa, Doya Yajohana, as that in the Shigi. Oh, that the scene of it Navaki at these Kekodo, Adonana 37 parallel, Nikita 8, as in for Equado. They isn't the hotels, they don't hear that it's a time yet. I have no good. Record or should also hot 8 or less. Also, hot at the well, this or less go. I think what a baby isn't the hotels, and they don't know the Hagon sing a bit the honnet, so no a navigate is kin for your band, just case of Kodo a Nahabe Kodo, Nahaban, just case of Kodo, that's a Kodo. Mr. Chair, I read that. Thank you.
Honorable Daniels, honorable members of RDC, any other comments or questions? Atanya Sash Bahasi, Mr. Robert Redhouse.
It's on a dish kid on it. Mr. Short here, in the meantime, is counter his counter. Ranger, the Ade Banana, no. What do we do? What does he need to do? What do we do in the meantime? Prior to the meeting between President Nez and Manuel Hart. Thank you.
Ms. Blackhart, are you on the call still? Department of Justice.
Hi, this is Veronica. I think we can go back with the response that was provided before, in that that the Navajo Nation is looking to address this issue, and that that we would prefer that they not take any action. And I know this was done in the past, and I think they respected that we were working on addressing the issue. And I think, to some extent, they are aware of potential meetings that are going to be upcoming to address these issues. So I think it would just be appropriate to say that, we are working on addressing this issue, and that, that they not take any action in the interim until we've come to a solution, or we've met with Ute Mountain Ute Tribe to discuss these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blackhart. In the meantime, Ms. Blackhart, as well as Mr. Mahoja, or anybody from BIA that's on the call with us today. I know we have BIA sitting here with us. The concern is a serious concern. What if the Utes come over and extremely harass Mr. Shorthair and his family? Perhaps Ms. Blackhart, that a letter should be drafted by our Department of Justice and perhaps signed by our President Nez, as well as perhaps myself as the Chair of Resource and Development Committee, that there no fencing be established currently, as we're beginning to head towards a dispute, which we already are by the local community and the Ute tribe. So, Ms. Blackhart, should we have some sort of documentation to halt any fencing project going on at this time? Would that be helpful? whether, are we in a volatile situation now that a letter might even, intensify further animosity between the two tribes? And we would like to get some of this resolved, but it is our hope and prayer that the Ute Nation also halt some of these fencing that is going on at this time. Ms. Blockhart, what is your recommendation for this?
I think it would be fine to issue a letter. I think that letter can just be general and just go to prior discussions and just basically state that we are working on addressing the issue. I mean, this is something that DOJ can certainly work on and draft for President and RDC Chair's signature.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Blockhart, would you be willing to work with the Office of the President, Vice President, since Mr. Filford is on the call and I am here in person? And we would appreciate maybe a teleconference call between RDC as well as the President's office and your office.
Yes, that would certainly work.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Blockhart, for that. But Mr. Redhouse, and I identified Mr. Shorthair. I certification da Bathopit Arab Yida at Stickle. Ash Kodonle Kujan Astahle Pichan Hall Jishop A. Hahodon NATO Holiday Tido Fate Ale Yaha Kujipe Bahayanagi Big Estkito Le Protection Hanenigi. Koron here that it ahid socket has on the Department of Justice, then Jokoro Quida Sadot English Chico. The neck at Chico A Hadina source gate had a dog nate. I don't that did ne President Nes. I don't wash RDC launch. Nihiji Nate Kodo NATO can't Everton does take off. Note that the launch. And on the in the door, the Beshbans on the council, for non-negation chair or needs like other. I lost Seti and Tita, Segi, Handel, Nehosse, deep and the hosts and go on the Ala Nja Gondanot, irrigation and a ray kinda, not a year Jeho one has Archer. The airport near Ordnegi has stayed or lead by has Arnie. Okodo Arch a Hajoko Yat Adanan the big Hadaiki, Nana had negotiation source they had a turn of Harchenekwe, but it I done the negation source for the dog late. Okodoshi, Belia, Washington hit Hadon, Nekodor, and hit a at the Naha. So Asian potato late. Ado, Mr. Victor. Oh, chapter president, Tisnos Paskoropachi.
So, yeah, none resource, Honorable Resource Development Committee Chairman, Mr. Rickness, I think there was a little bit of lack of communication. What I was referring to was the Lao Ashita on the border to Navajo. They have to notify the adjoining jurisdiction to ADI saying that now so Ashita Kuroba Adnekashibajan no into the English form. That's called professional courtesy. Yeah. But then these so often and had needed Mr. Shorthair. But I know there's a Navajo Nation park ranger that's assigned there. You have to date so a quaggy. It's a large adas, Kakode. Kodisha. No. So you have to provide that. Hey, in another jurisdiction. I'll just allow whether it's a deputy or a trooper. make sure you don't violate that person's rights. It's called professional courtesy. That's all it is. They're not supposed to done. Yes, you could write it down. But I think that's a simple solution coming from a former law enforcement officer. Yesterday, in the new works, the idea that quite non-honest. Out of a lack of communication, we covered that one. Out of accountability, out of what do you need in there? Out of chapter involvement, so we like to be informed out of everything that's going on in the within the chapter boundaries. IDK I don't know. Okay. I don't so thank you.
Kushila, Mr. Victor Kasheha, Ms. Janet Sloman Chi, Shimahado, Askaro, Nature Adotse.
Ja, Arnoldson. Janet Sloman Cheese, I don't know for you said Arnoldson. As she hens slot as a sun buses chain. God, so that's another door. That's a chain. It's all I don't know. Ado Dibaya Iki Course sudden has Betty told it cheatly. Emma Sloman and Francis Piquet, they should chat at Beatrice. A cohort alcohol, we could tell Nitlum. Araba Henson de by it by Yadel Igi. BIA no Senigi Sheher. Mr. Mahojo, thank you for attending this meeting. Our chapter officials that are here, we're thankful to you that you're sponsoring this session here. I want you to know, Mr. Mahoja, this is extremely important to us as a family because we grew up there. We grew up in the area. The Navajo people have a tradition where we bury our umbilical cords. They're all there. Even my children's umbilical cords are there. To the neck at to go a honita. Hits a Hetolier, Nita a Hota Ibian, Ado date in the hit. Ado she yas Paul Phillips. The Bebenauts was a yacht sosne. Ado Danshin Sabotlat not Nadina. Jadon his bad husband and the hot e. The she could out a hot end nasty on that. A cosche cut such igi the Bebenauts sauce, Ninigi Asian sauce. A co hot Aden hit was out. Ado should say, yeah, but it's a bad on the sun bed of nation. Ados Masanda Chanala Maggie told it cheating. What are you that? I guess not the upper to the hill in here. But this is a pepper Argent the pepper the young baker she the cleaner. I put over to the hill in not the other just go. Helen hit il chinny clinic the Nil Raj and Nahin the Hini Nisa. Not the Abasan da il ihna. Da il just the Hashi I couldn't hear what not the Better Nilson. Ado cut out Kedahat Enigi not the Adam Lenigi oh you better sin. A codit Hajor Chahat or Zehat Nenigi Yat
guess Janet Sloman, she, I guess it's $1,000. Khane, khade. Dinle. It's a ani don't know what the nashana arenansta. A codibin nature. Ayo kid and a scale when Kitrania don't let. Ado, I don't want a haggit. Ashishin echo she had on what no ho didn't they stuffy go by shot hot in. Bestahas to bend on the kid of an hate harder. No sen go the ports and the leaky part of hush. Are they not on no they yaha hit on me. You wait what not hot now. Chrissy, but you I could should not this kidiki hat ila penina do khela anno khale di hot na it kids me hat asedo some should show her the aya the hadne let one leniki as nido no what you go no tape ni she hostel that you need a cope what aya the hunsen a con kitchen hensen or the snap. Did I had ayas aya has kenna loyal kids that nese. I see called the sniffer. A con de George had on the sea given yet a co a hair wormad I guess the queen the she should the taxes open that should balance and a co hair. Ado, Mr. Nez, thank you for running the meeting. We appreciate you. I am requesting that I be the forefront in this whole operation that we're gonna take on. Ado, yeah.
Yeah, but only Jahainjigi, Mr. Loman Chi. You would like to be the forefront of the negation. And later be a red feather, don't get a house, Tala Yoshinda, Ahako. Aret is not busted at the Are digging each other. No, there's a page by Sana. Oh, and get a snake. Dekoroya had chief beer earlier. The gate by Yastiki, there 4 corners, there's shut on, no? I would like to go over there after this meeting and tour the area and perhaps my advisor and my recorder, if they're available. If not, I know they have a lot of work to do. But if you'll take me over there, I would like to see what gate you're talking about and why it's there. Is it park and rec-ish people? Okay, here, I would like for you to say who's in charge of the gate and how this happened.
Navajo Nation's Park and Recreation Department takes care of 4 corners. There is a gate when you get to the monument. They lock it, I believe it's at 5 o'clock. And then they padlock it. And we do not have a key, so we cannot go in and out to our liking. We don't have the autonomy to do that. So even the proceeds, the daily admission fee that's collected there, I have never seen a dime of it. I don't think my sisters have either. So we're so far removed from it. Suzada whatever. So I do that you eat and hello. I put on between that. Do what either. I thought the beginning. Kala shit I guess I just had it nicht card. That the beta gin slow the snitch. Hey, asa gin be the house, this art alcohol zogi, a dingo had it nicht card. Yet was snitch. I don't know yet even in I guess it actually what Ishtala the snitch. My question has been, who has taken care of sheep in 4 states in one day? Most of the time, people don't raise their hand, and I tell the audience, I am very special. I did that almost every day when I used to take care of the sheep. So that's where it's at, is right at the entrance. There's a gate, there's a booth with an attendant there that takes care of the admission, and then they will lock it up at 5. And oftentimes, even at the admission, we have to thoroughly explain ourselves as to why we're going in. And I don't think anybody else does that to go home.
So, Janet, at the gate there, monument, you go in there, that gate closes at a certain time, and that road leads down to your home site area for your families?
Yes. Yes, it does.
How many residents?
At Goko'ed, Higanigi, Late, Bakohe don't loan, Nandin Higan Addison. So we're the ones, we have that one site there, even though there's other dwellings that are allowed to be there. And part of it is for us to get materials to refurbish our home, to improve our home. It's very difficult because the gate is locked. We know we have to get out of there before they lock us in, or we need to get there before they lock us out. So either way.
Thank you, Ms. Loman-Chi, Mr. Fahy. If we could add that to the next RDC agenda, a report from Parks and Rec, Mr. Begay Shaw, and we would like to also have East North Bus officials on there, including Ms. Loman-Chi's family and relatives, because they do have a legal home site and that is more law than things that are written. Therefore, they should have access through Four Corners Monument. Not that they will be conducting business throughout the night, but they should have access to go to their homes and go at least improve their homes in that area, though. So see, we didn't know anything like that is going on. So I'm glad now that you brought it to our attention. No dasha tinaka no the Krishna cannot daba tinaka. Could you not daba tinaka? Could you not die in the ayento? Yat I could that naila. Of course, did yaha don't and gokoya. If we don't know, we just don't know. Until he sent me a text message, no daita hopa and so le kojo had cheat hakon see others of now the was our question what Aro Pichina Hoshnaki Queen Sudati not traditional. It's come. Arabis kind of Badania. I had it on lazy 18 in that nation. Arashitania. I don't know Queen how it no. I saw I should not be Quisha Chindo Shikada Bagan. No, never lie Shivan as Aro Nashatin Naka no Yegobetis. Do yesh had negogo. And I was thousand the don't his thousand the old shashan. Beshisha how zin the patient yes, the shisha had zin the do yego bahon senda. I could see second that I was thousand the but almost Loman-Chi between leg and beer. We don't know that's going on there. So now we can address it. There's 2 issues that came out today from this meeting to address the border issue between the Ute and Navajo Nation. Second, to address the issue with Parks and Rec and the local residents so they can have access to their property back there. And Mr. Tai, if you would add that on to the next agenda for approval, we can have Parks and Rec report to RDC. Ms. Tomchi?
May I just request before she speaks, sorry.
Mr. Nez, this is Dr. Janet Sloan, Chief for the record. Mr. Nez, I'd like to request that I get copies of all the documents that are relevant to this initiative. Thank you.
Dr. Sloman Chi, please give your contact information, email to our advisor. He's going to send information to the chapter officials, including yourself and perhaps the Club C members. Ms. Tomchi.
Good afternoon. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Just for the record, yesterday, we had a preliminary meeting with, prior to this meeting, where we gathered all the testimonials of the people of the descendants coming from that area. And due to the Resources Committee and to DOJ and our President Nez and all involved parties, we really want you to look at this presentation, PowerPoint, because it, provides you that scope of the families that are there. And in the portion about the descendants, that in that realization, the portrait there are all the sisters, including my grandmother. And these extend out to the families that are now the descendants in that area. We can provide those names to you once we get that. But with that testimony tomorrow, the testimonial, we would like that to be a part of the record. Both Vice President Burma Francisco and I will prepare the minutes along with the sign-in sheet and the agenda, if that's acceptable. And with that, I'd like to say thank you for hearing us and being a part of this important issue, but also to acknowledge the other issues regarding our natural resources that need to have attention made, that we need to deal with as well. And I'd like to be a part of the continued agenda in regard to this matter as a third issue. Thank you. That including the oil and gas, the helium proposed conversation, whereby these families out there are being impacted as well. And they have testimonials on that end to address. And with that, I'd like to say thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Bea Redfeather.
Hello again, everyone. Also wanted to include and to get on the record, again, this is Beatrice Redfeather. I am a descendant there from Gina Jane Sloman, my aunts Janet Sloman Chi, Francis Begay, Elma Redfeather, and Betty Toda-Cheatney. Again, I'm going to state that they are from down there. They born and raised from there. So I wanted to put this on record. There was a time when I went to go see Eric. He was across and I was picking him up to take him to his doctor appointment. What Karen had told me when I got to go down, start to make my way across, they put a bunch of boulders blocking our access to home. So I got out and tried to move what I could, and I drove back to the monument, and the maintenance men there actually got out and helped me remove the boulders there so I could go and pick up Eric and take him to his appointment. So those are the things that we put up with. And it's very frustrating to sit there at the gate and wait, telling me you can't go in. Well, I don't know who you are. We don't know you. Imagine that, you guys going home and they tell you that. No one should be denied to their home. We didn't ask for that monument to be put up there. They came to my great-grandparents asking for that proportion to be cut out. If it wasn't for them, that wouldn't be sitting there. So thank you.
Sheila, thank you. Mr. Short here, you can speak here. That's it.
Beyadas easy. I said, "Oh, Nishi, you fancy to one hat on to parallel 37 Nishi. I think they are able what they not to put an over nation for. He could fish or no, not died and we had to negotiate, we had to settle down if we go forward. He is your settled on this or one adult is all adult he don't husband only. On the adult. So you go no try no you mount try percent so that is your percent so they don't need for kid is George Wells one yeah and the because he don't miss about 10 heads of it. This I don't know. So what they do and it's yeah another head either Korea and then on the other side of other translate of Jay and of Mahaib as a borderline either I want to start fancy because it's then not just this she does it all I don't know but I think the because she call before cornering I know Earth Snowman by Yansky as that she say the word I don't the no about I don't know enjoy that. Although down by 4 corners that see down the hill was on the hunt. You probably to your location we are that team. Either what this is at the such ID please know that. Okay, I fix the road edge down is back in don't say for your back hold yeah it's not down there although so I die pressure yeah though in the air your body in the high school that as for this music but roof is trouble when no then I went up there was worked by other channel over because it's they are near what the roof coming down there. I looked at it and so otherwise all these people this move back she also another so not even one neighbor so she I like to see people that build something like to see something happen. A 4 corners I scoped it out back in 2000 yeah 2005 that was 2010 a paper the one 4 corners at the house hard so but the thing is I went to Winter Rock VRA office, land department, archaeological clearance department, surveying department, no 4 corners have no right to say it. They have only 150 feet from their road from the road to 4 corners. 150 feet from the center line is their area, is their right of way. Up to 4 corners, there's all 4 states. Does us and I see those states and the right of way. So there's only 150 feet each ways. So I have these documents here. Parks and Rec don't have any documents stating that they have the original ones and they for survey so I'll just let you know that so thank you.
Kushila Kashe Yapia but ask Kuroti maps again. Ija don't hit the station, you know, this station, flashing because none of the in the Shabiga theater. Queen Abiga, Mr. Chi, if you would like to.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did bring a few maps here from our program. And one of them is a 1937 map of one that was signed by John Collier that basically outlines all the grazing districts, and it does signify the 37th parallel is the Navajo border. And then I did generate a couple of maps that show the 37th parallel versus the state line. So, and then I did get our GIS specialist to actually calculate the acres that are involved in this discrepancy. 80%.
Do you guys have a map from the chapter? Matt and Ted, then, Mr. Victor? Any Victor? Okay. Burma. Lucinda, you can go up here and, hello, Robert. Man, get a note, so that the shin harder name. Honorable members of RDC, just hold on one moment here. We're going to look at these maps here for us up on a different table. So just bear with us and we should be done in about 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Mitsui.
In the yellow, that's the 37th parallel. Well, but there's a four corner. This is Roman. Yeah. Are we good? Are we gonna? Yeah. This. Okay. Here's 491. How far from the hogback? It's right at the hogback. I think it's right. Study that much more. Which hogback are you talking about? Because way down here. The 37th parallel doesn't go this way, it goes straight across. Here's strip rock, here's hogback way down there. See hogback? The 37th parallel is way up here. Oh no, it's just because over the view. No, the hogback's way down here. 37th parallel is way up here. No, the yellow line.
That's 37 parallel. It does it because of the BLM survey. See the orange? The state line. So it kind of varies. It'll widen and it'll shrink. Like right here. Right here.
You know, one thing that we considered is that
But it's supposed to
that
continue.
the Ute Mountain, you tribe, the Navajo Nation is to come out with a mutual of understanding document.
Here's the thing.
That is some issue that relates to that, not having to deal with the boundary changes, but just a mutual of
The
understanding
thing is,
between
you
two
have to
tribes.
go out there and
Is transport and
look for some of the
water.
evidence, the original monumentation.
Until such time, the fencing issue has been resolved.
Right.
So it's pretty simple.
Yeah, and
I would-
like I would say, you know, the green and the black. That would be the more.
That,
That is just-
right here's the state line.
But both.
Orange one?
tribes,
That's the state line.
Then they can see
The fence is almost in between, it's not almost in between, it's kind of off.
in
Here's the 37 parallel.
congressional
So
act.
it's hard to see on the
Follow
older
them.
map. Better to see it on.
I just seen it.
North of the.
Yeah.
For the youth reservation.
It'll vary.
Yeah. And what they did, what Congress did, they went to the out of the district, makes you clean development. So they recommended that the same.
But that was the state and the tribe.
No, these are between two tribes.
The
But
people-
there's
the-
also
the-
a case,
No, so the condo put it in
Yeah,
that part.
yeah. So, but there's also that issue that.
That's it.
Because the-
This right here.
Thank you, Mr. Chi, Lambert, as well as Mary Lou Holm and your staff coming over here and providing maps to the chapter. Now they finally have a map here at Chisnos Paso. Mr. Derry Lewis, thank you very much for being here with us today. Ashe Yahati Oshi Hondo Ne Waki Sani Denegi. Hello, Sasha. Can you all kind of calm down and hello, Sasha. Please be quiet. Ashe Hondo Ne Chodida Pro Mr. Shorthair. Do Mr. Robert Redhouse, Aro Tatnas, Nelina Flinigi, Qui Naho, Egi, and Nachin Equity, Hoste, Nikido Nego. Could you all be quiet, or I'll give you the microphone so you all can talk after we adjourn. Achi. The national na kego has ago for dish and then I that is on the teleconference call. The Kodo Nakisi town has has canceled on it. Na kiko has edo ne for don't need. The no dabas fahod zolo the nebas fahod zogi quido hot eda. At the Egido do put Eda. Hast Edo neef frage like se et zo. A kokropia Eda had ze Mr. Mahoja. Dida hast Edo nesike e bansalahaki yaha kendanat guide a ye chikoho one bedi na Congress. Diki hast lagonda behas ani hast edo nito hojo kibana hodo zin jonna. Achot di korot naz nele pagandene qui asana oksehiki pa. Sa betana hadit ahi. Hajo hadado si nikidini. But kodoshi to adon detta. Kan AI yidako dan hik tel chita has come bedi na red mesa aro anata de hut ego resolution ikishi hadado se be atanas kanen nego kodot na nehits face hadado nego hadahiso sige ben nach era hosan adat behas ani et atida Nihits says a tranda down need. Ado the Bebanal source and had a hanodo tea, but not loshik it is in livestock. Kodo Mr. Redhouse, he gives it though, and that Kodoto Mr. Leonard began, he has a da within Ado Koroshin, but spouse and Mr. Derry Lewis, Ado said Lahas Data, Nehinan I. Grazing official Nahana asked a quote a data a large giti a sati less deep need. Pushtan hit a deep need, Katnas Nelno, Senegido coordinator. Aro Mr. Shorthair, Shin Gastado less, Aro Ms. Janet Sloman Chi, Dr. Janet Sloman Chi. A coen Hirstan Kidin Nego Ahatspara has Ago Yaha. Resources and Development Committee, Saton Hista, and the Department of Justice of that Ahit Sopat has Ajet to put edit on needs. Here that it I hold on here to Office of Legislative Council, but ne Ajashin to I don't that the Division of Natural Resource has Ada. I don't Land Department, Kodo. Yego Lange, but I had the Higishin Kahistoka. I don't that Bureau of Indian Affairs, or stat of the deed. sto qui after dan ha tagon tago has ago did nahat nas hododne at en hiti between his argi has adosted Mr. Victor, Miss Francisco, Mr. Redhouse, Ado, Mr. Yellowhorse, and Lucinda here. Between his argi has adosted akesta hodos nishi. Eben nache kodohot adi benshi zeda do nis. Ado asa has laid the hot enasto les that a deed nis. Nehe President Aja, no diet larger chairman, Mr. Hardy, asa has said la. Ot and Mr. Philfred kodo Aja President Yanan Nashiki and ne ko hot an hiche hadzi. Ado atas don haljish go Department of Justice and ne go yaha. No one person should negotiate for the Navajo Nation. Nen do asa kohot leko the nepais do zinsta. The President's Office RDC chapter officials kodo. Nike got it do the land department of BI it's the anil so that he so got a big what I been nas that the dick at all netigate ego larger na kick on that on his spouse and dog on his chet aniki equi 4 corners monument has aki done it. Dan the tiki had chiniki no hoya koko ya in hit the net on his kid had teniki. But then that's Casco arch a cohort ela the under teeth and had a store teeth. Great ego and here cone Negan banana need cato left. Judah noya had a hasi. Ako Parks and Rec has ada ajanan nishpohot nehiki nehich a report ido the Resources and Development Committee. A late out ajan hitcheba hutch do hate out chink hidden snago by undertaken and had or tiso conne and his asada at the water left. A cochidi na kiko has agwe ban hiniki corona bikiasi kidok at a nasta the katosh edini. What asat sahadole. Not any asat in the recha hotzand, but let us see, take away I get it, but the achetole. What Johnson, ha? Nikisbehus and ole. Shouldn't then of Senegi. Ado Kashedi, Chiaponelia, relation, and I know Senegi, honorable members of RDC. Did you have any other comments or questions? Etten go Koron Hanad, Nishigi, Mr. Tahido, Mr. Mose, Diat, Equisa, no Senegi, Bakat, Nahatso. Ado di follow-up meeting, Nigi that all less. Nahort can't go. So, Kaje, Baat, Kidiki, Chahundo, Nato, Nagagoshi, Nihikation, all the what's all less, and then Hikation and start on the gate, but the Kado. See, that's Arabic that has on the light. Should they be a whole Nazahara, the whole, and then watch out. Arochele, Yash, the Behornon, and Nina, so. Ishin session that could that's off our another cut and lead all day. Burr machine, slow man stuff. They also seen a go not stop and that either. I don't that the dish needs other. I can't. Yon inch. It's always good to hear my people laughing. Thank you very much. God bless each and every one of you. We'll adjourn at this time. It is 12:28 p.m. Honorable Francis Redhouse. And I sago thank you very much for being a good leader for the great Navajo Nation. From the Resources Committee, we just want to say thank you, as well as Mr. Filford too. So again, Sago, thank you, thank you. Najenda Paul Red House, Njenda, yeah. Your uncle, I always remember him as a Bible reader, a pastor. Yon tint what's that? Yeah, and Ola, basically, but lot Edna dan Nego. Again, ye hahodis Nego, yeah, and then Hudson, baby, Yafti Ashmoda. Thank you. I'm going. Yeah, thank you all for being on the call with us too. Going.